Hey, it's Phil Ratcliff, and welcome to our weekly live broadcast. Thanks for tuning in today. We're winding down summer. Hopefully your kids, if you have them, are going back to school, and life's a little bit easier. Maybe they don't think it's fun, but I doubt they're watching this broadcast, so it's good for us. Anyways, we got Tony on today. Thanks for coming in and filling in, Tony, today. We're going to talk a little bit about Dave Ramsey, and here Tony kind of spearheads our partnership with Dave Ramsey, and we wanted to talk about that program to some of our clients that are coming to us from Dave Ramsey, and some of you that may not have even heard of him, that it may help a lot. So, Tony, tell us a little bit, who's Dave Ramsey and what's he about?
So I've known of Dave Ramsey for a long time. He's down from Nashville, Tennessee. Actually has a very popular radio station, podcast and such, a number of books focused on helping people get out of debt and to get steps to get more, as he would say, financial peace, financial freedom. And he has specific steps to be able to do that, a lot of resources at his website. But that's what it is. A lot of people are lost in trying to take those first steps to get out of debt, and he has some good ideas to help people do that.
He does a good job, because I think about a lot of the older people that didn't make that transition from just audiobook and conferences. But his program's really good now, using the online web sources along with books and audiobooks and worksheets and tools and all kinds of things.
Workshops at churches and things like that, at schools and things. One of our, William, took it in high school, and he went through college debt-free. So they're really great steps and tools to help people.
That's awesome. So, I guess just from you saying that, one of the main things I think about when I think about Dave Ramsey is debt. Right, and living debt-free, and if you feel like you have a problem with that, you probably do, and he's probably one of the best people to help you get out of that.
Right. Yeah, it's been proven, so time and time again.
Yeah, well, we've seen even people come to us, and they're awesome usually if they've gone through it and actually adhere to it. And then we've got people that come to us that just think a financial advisor can fix anything, and we're like, no, go do Dave Ramsey first, then come back and see us. It'll be a lot more fruitful for you.
Yeah, and they really get a discipline about that too. So the discipline goes from climbing out of debt to then, climbing the investment ladder and growing that way.
And I think anybody could benefit from it, but obviously I kind of see it's a very almost Protestant-oriented thing. One of the things I like about his program is like, it's your fault. It's your fault you're here, even if maybe it's not. You're the only one that can take responsibility for it. Until you look in the mirror and change things and take responsibility, you're not going to change anything. And I think that is a key cornerstone of that program. So who benefits the most from Dave Ramsey's programs and courses and the help that he provides?
Well, for most folks to have gotten into debt means they weren't paying attention to it, or they just didn't understand the implications of doing that and how it could really be restraining their life, and what they can be doing. So I would say those that are in debt and really struggling to find a way to get out of debt, and they lack discipline. And I think that is what the program really does. It gives them the discipline and guidance on how to get out of debt and get ahead.
And I would say half the people realize that they lack discipline, and half the people won't admit it, Yeah. So if you've got problems with debt, then a lot of the times, don't just think because you think you have discipline that Dave Ramsey can't help you. Even if you think you're there through no fault of your own, through bad circumstances in life and what so, I think that as well too.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people learn while going through the steps is probably a seemingly desperate position they were in. There's hope, and they could really get aggressive and get out of it a lot sooner than they thought they could.
And make money work for you instead of always paying those other people that are letting you use money earlier than you probably should have taken it. So I think one of the main things that people remember about Dave Ramsey, and that is one of his keys to success, is his Snowball strategies. So tell us a little bit about the Snowball.
Well, and so as I said earlier, there's going to be steps that you're going to take to get out of debt. For instance, the first thing you talk about is building, like setting $500 aside. One of the reasons, the biggest reason probably that people remain in debt is, we all have little incidents coming up in our lives, not necessarily big emergencies, but most Americans don't even have $500 or $1,000 to handle that, so then they go further into debt, and it just keeps going. So it starts with just building that little nest egg, then working on the credit cards, figuring out which ones to pay off, and then building that bigger nest egg. And finally, at the very end, is paying off your house, funding your kids' college, funding your retirement, and things like that. So.
Yeah, and I think there's two things that you said there that really stand out to me over my career, because I don't think most people that are in debt, unless they're like right out of college or whatever the case, think that they're in debt just because they were dumb or whatever. Some people will feel, but most people, I think they're just like, well, this happened to me in life, and then, you know, my grandmother needed this, and I helped her out with this, then my kids needed this, and then I helped them out with that, or whatever the case, and they think that this is unique, and it's not. That's how life is. Life is going to continue to throw stuff at you.
Right.
And unless you take responsibility to say, these things are going to happen, I have to have an emergency savings, and then sometimes I have to say no, you're not going to get out of that cycle, and you have to take responsibility for it and realize that this is not like some temporary part in your life. Like, this is going to continue to happen, and unless we do something to change it, we're going to sit there and have a whole lot less than we could have because of that debt sucking us like a vampire. And then the second thing that I like about Dave, and you know, when I was a young advisor, I kind of didn't believe it, but now that I've done it more and seen how things work, is, you know, doing always the best mathematical thing is not necessarily optimal for us as human beings, because we're not totally rational. So like in the Snowball, they tell you to pay off the lowest balance first rather than the highest interest rate, right? Which sounds very counterintuitive for a financial advisor, an accountant, or what so, but for people it works really well. You know, won't you explain that a little bit?
So we're not all economists, right? There's a, you know, an economist would do the most rational thing, but as people, we don't do the rational thing, right? And so we need to kind of build victories within ourselves and build the discipline. And that's why those little victories help, I think, by paying off the little ones.
Getting one gone.
It's about really, you know, we're not interested necessarily in, we're trying to do it the most effective way to get us to the finish line, right? And his ways have proven to be the best for most people.
Sure, and that's why they call it the Snowball. So you take the smallest one, you get it paid off faster, and you're like, yes, I did it. You take all the payment from that one, you add it to the next one. After you knock that one off, you're happy that you did that. You roll it into the next one, and it snowballs bigger and bigger and bigger. So, you know, we don't want to hit on that too much, but I do love that strategy. We both love the Dave Ramsey, the whole process of, you know, from the Snowball to the budgeting to the self-discipline. It is the way to go. So tell us a little bit about budgeting and how that plays a role in everything.
Okay. So a number of the folks that come to us from Dave Ramsey, because we have a relationship, we're a SmartVestor Pro, and so we have people that come in and they've been budgeting. They may have gotten away from it, but it's a very difficult thing to do, right? I mean, to sit there on a monthly basis at the beginning of the month and, you know, symbolically put money into an envelope for every expenditure, it's very difficult to do. But a lot of people need that discipline, and they need it just to get ahead. But, you know, there's different variations of it. But in one capacity or another, people need to pay more attention to what they're spending, and you know, the budgeting part of that is, you know, important.
I mean, it seems simple, but you have to know how much is coming in, you have to know how much is going out, and you have to be cash flow positive. And if you want to pay down stuff, you need to free up money to pay towards those to where they're gone in the future. And I know Dave Ramsey, he has his own, you know, free budgeting tool that you can use, and a lot of the people that have come to us do use that, and it's very effective. Some people use mint.com, which is free as well too. But we also have our own budgeting tool that I think a lot of people that have come to us from Dave Ramsey have liked as well.
Right, and ours is more comprehensive. It's kind of a personal finance tool, and it has a few more gadgets, and it's more comprehensive, but it's used for other things such as planning and things like that. So, but it does help. I mean, if you can categorize, it helps you to look at your spending and to take the next step of even building a budget from that.
Yep, and so you connect in like your checking and your savings and your credit card, even though we should be shutting those down, right, through Dave Ramsey. But you can connect everything in here that you spend from. It consolidates it, and then we can build budgets out of it. We can break it down by category and dig into it and see what all those transactions are, and it just helps to automate the process a little bit. Now, of course, it's not free. People have to hire us to have access to this. But again, a lot of this is something that we add on to the financial planning things for people that a lot of Dave Ramsey clients have really liked. And then, of course, the difference between Mint and the tools that we provide you is, people say, well, Mint is free. Well, they're data mining, so they're gleaning information about how you spend your money so people can remarket to you, et cetera. With ours, it's absolutely private because, it's getting paid for, et cetera. So we also think that budgeting and tracking where your money goes is a key component of having the cash flow to be able to invest and build your wealth, which is why we provide this. And again, another reason why we get along very well with Dave Ramsey as well too. So you mentioned it just a second ago. What is the SmartVestor program?
So we inquired to work with Dave Ramsey
long time
back
ago.
in 2015, at the end of 2015. And they finally reached out to us earlier this year. We went through a vetting process. We met with them. But basically, if you're a Dave Ramsey fan or you just go to his website and you want to look for a financial advisor, ultimately they'll be led to us. And so,
one of, what are we, like 8 in the Midwest or something like that?
I think there's 10 in Central Ohio, so it's a pretty big range. So we reach out to those folks and we try to get them in here to show them exactly how we, can help them if our programs are right for them. And we've evolved enough programs where we're useful for a lot of people, but that's it. And so, but they come in here already with some of the discipline and some of the theories behind Dave Ramsey, so they make, they're very good spenders. They're very good savers at this point, and hopefully that's going to turn into good investors.
Yep, and one of the things in the vetting process, beyond that we're good financial advisors, et cetera, like we don't have minimums or whatsoever. Because a lot of people going through Dave Ramsey, even though they've gotten their house in order, they're starting over sometimes. And so in that respect, we don't care like a lot of firms to say you have to have $1 million to be a client of ours. We'll help people from scratch if that's what they need.
And that's a lot of people. That's the vast majority of Americans, right? I mean, but we want to help them and take the steps to make their financial lives better and work towards retirement. Yeah.
So where do we, as kind of certified financial planners, complement where Dave and his programs leave off?
Well, I think, the one big influence he has on them is growing their discipline when it comes to finances and such. But we take off where the budgeting has ended and now the savings are beginning and thinking about retirement. So we have...
So the savings beyond the emergency savings, where we want it to grow.
Right, exactly. Investing and now getting ahead and thinking, like I said, about college for kids and retirement and those things. So that's where we take over and help people figure those things out.
And then also the planning as well, too, because, I had a couple in here last night, and the statistical planning that we do, at first they're like, well, how's this different from the calculators my 401k gives me? And I'm just like, it's just like a whole different league. I mean, even as complex or as good as what we are at our jobs, we'll still put anywhere from 4 to 15 hours into a plan when you add all of our time together. And how much does it take somebody that doesn't know anything to use a calculator? Like 5 minutes? And so the level of the planning that we do is crazy beyond the calculators that are publicly available out there.
Yeah. I mean, often people are anxious about how we're going to help them on the investing side, but really the planning side can often be more important than that in terms of how much we're going to be able to save them from them making mistakes and doing things most efficiently.
Yeah. Let's just show them a little example. We're not going to go through much of this because this isn't a planning overview, but this is just kind of our demo account for Jane and John Doe, and you can kind of just see what some of our plans are capable of in terms of modeling out the future, showing people different things of where their living expenses are, growth rates, or if taxes change. If people need long-term care, if they were to use their HSA more effectively, their health savings account through work, what happens if we, max out Roth IRAs or pay the mortgage off faster, or we were to move, or so-and-so died earlier or later. What happens if we did certain things that would affect taxes in the future, like Roth conversions, and then we can turn these on and off in different permutations so that people can see how that would affect their future. So, again, it is the next step from after you've got your emergency reserves, you've got the discipline, you've paid off the debt, you're going to stay out of it. So now instead of paying interest, how do we earn the most interest and not give the government, or give the government the least, right?
Exactly.
So let's give our viewers just some key takeaway pieces of advice. So what would you say?
Well, Everybody's different in how they go about doing things, and I think that's what we've learned from our experience is how to work with them. And I think that's why it's great to have a financial advisor, a financial partner with them, trying to figure out the best way, to finish off the budgeting part and get ahead on the investing part. As we talk about, planning is just critical for people. They don't realize all the iterations that Phil showed you and how they all tie together, because it's different for everybody. And what we know today about somebody is going to be different than what we know about them a year from now, because things are going to change in their lives. So we need to keep thinking about those things. So, it's number one, working closely with them to help them keep discipline and keep growing, and trying to figure out how we're going to minimize those taxes and grow their nest egg, but just keep them growing in that, and they need to keep taking those steps.
Sure, I agree. So number one, do what Dave Ramsey and them says. Get your house together. Make sure you don't have debt. Get rid of your credit cards. Have emergency savings. Stop paying people interest and start earning the interest. I'd say that is probably number one above anything. And then secondly, once you're there, find a financial advisor. We recommend people all the time in our profession. Dave isn't on either side of this, but we kind of are, is if you're going to find a financial advisor, which most people, I would say over 90% could need one, make sure you find a fiduciary advisor. A fiduciary advisor is somebody that has to put your interests before their own. So we are one of the few fiduciary advisors in the SmartVestor program, I think, and we serve anywhere in the country. But if you look up on the online thing, you only find us if you're close to us. But you could hire us from anywhere in the country. And if you do want somebody close, find somebody that's on the SmartVestor program that's also in the NAPFA search, NAPFA. .org. They have a find an advisor, and that is going to be fee-only fiduciary advisors, which have to put your interests first. So I think that, those two things of, do what they say, find somebody like us that has to do what's right for you first. So, Tony, how can people work with us if they want to?
Well, there's a number of ways, and that's what's great about our firm. We're different than most advisors. So if you've gone to see an advisor and maybe they've tried to sell you a product, we've actually evolved a number of services to help people depending on where they are in their lives, right? I mean, so some folks are going to use us for our investment services, some folks for the planning, and a lot of folks for both of those. Some people are going to want us on call. They could hire us that way. Some people are going to want to hire us virtually, and they could hire us that way. Some people want to meet with us and need us often, and so they could hire us that way. So really, we've evolved our services to really be there for most needs of people. And so they can hire us in a number of different ways.
Yeah. So go to our website. I mean, you can Google us, Rebel Financial. There's rebelfinancial.com. When you go here, we're very transparent. There's lots of reviews from our clients and from Angie's List and also from Google. If you want, you can start a free trial. We're one of the only financial planning companies in the country that has a free trial. So click it. Also, if you're not sure what to do, then there's a little thing down here that you can just click on and schedule a complimentary. It's free for the first one. If you're serious about finding a financial advisor, to just see how we could help you, or if you just want to see if you like the advisor that you're going to get paired up with. We have chat on our website if you just want to chat either with one of our admin or office manager, or you actually have a financial question. You'll get connected to a CFP, which is a certified financial planner, or you can always call us at the 877-54-REBEL. Anywhere in the U.S., it's toll-free. Give us a ring. We're very transparent. You can see our pricing, etc. Again, we love Dave Ramsey. Thanks for all you guys do over there. And if you guys ever have any questions, our viewers, anytime, whether it's about this or not, give us a ring, give us an email, give us a chat. We're more than happy to help. Thanks for coming on today, Tony, and helping all of our clients understand better about this. And then next week, we got Molly Schultz coming up. She's from Canine Companions. We actually have a service dog in the office most of the time, so we thought it'd be great to have somebody that actually trains and matches people up to explain it a little bit more to people, because a lot of people don't understand where they come from, what they're for, why people have them. I think it's going to be great. Come watch that. Secondly, the week after that, we're going to have Joe Jess on from Mid-Ohio Food Bank, talking a little bit about their mission and how they help us around here. Helping families and people make sure that they don't go hungry. So Thanks again for joining us. Have a super finish to the week. It looks like it's in and up beautiful around here. Hopefully it is for you if you're watching us from farther in the country. And join us next week. See you then.